Welcome to MathomBooks. My name is Jeremy. We have an awesome conversation that's happening today. We sat down, Tezi and I, that is, sat down with Jeremy Cremer. I'm a big Star Wars fan, and we've all seen The Force Awakens. It's funny because, Jeremy, we actually watched episodes 4, 5, and 6 all
like in the
last week and a half or so. So we were fresh on those. In fact, we finished Return of the Jedi last night.
Oh, cool.
Which is very cool. And so I know exactly what you're talking about. For example, the lightsaber battle between Luke and Darth Vader in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi are awesome. And they were made decades ago, and they're still awesome. And it's because I think you're right. It wasn't a gimmick. They weren't like, oh, we could do this with technology now. Yeah. It was... and this film did some of this. I'm going to kind of change the topic here a bit on you, but stick with me. I think you'll hear what I'm saying. The thing about the lightsaber battles in the prequels was that they were doing what I think you're talking about, which is, hey, we have this technology now, so we're just going to do it. And so they have all these crazy angles, and you're right up there fast. Everything's moving fast, like a video game. But there's no story. It's just fighting. It's just acrobatic fighting. Okay, yeah, it's cool a little bit, but you're not moving the story along. In all of the original trilogy lightsaber battles, they're fighting, and it's really cool, but then there's those moments where they're paused or they're holding each other, and then they talk. If you remember in Return of the Jedi, there's whole moments, they're not fighting at all. They're kind of walking around. Luke's hiding from Vader, and Vader's walking around, and they're talking about the story. His sister, and Obi-Wan was wise to hide her, and all these, you're like, oh, wow, this is cool. Like, that is the Star Wars ideology coming out in these epic battles. And you're right. All I'm trying to say is I agree with you. With the fancy... first-person perspective, flipping around and all this kind of stuff. It's cool for a little while, but it's overdone. And but what I want to say is this, Jeremy. I think J.J. Abrams did a great job with the lightsaber battles. I think where I saw what you're talking about, at least to my mind, was in the dogfights between the TIE fighters and X-Wings. And the Millennium Falcon, we were like, just crazy camera angles. And I feel you. But I felt like he nailed the lightsaber battles, to my mind. I thought they were worlds apart from the prequels. I think he learned. He saw what didn't work in the prequels. And he took enough of the gems from the original trilogy and brought that to this film. Do you agree? In terms of the lightsaber battles, what are your thoughts?
No, no, not really. They to me they felt kind of. I mean, I saw that with the spaceships flying around too, but yeah. I don't know. It feels kind of like they don't think that they think my attention span is like. What's the word?
Too short, like you got to have a new something every few minutes. It's interesting.
Like take their time like that.
Right. What I'm curious about, I'm going to be curious to watch this film again with what you're saying in mind, because I didn't. I felt. Let me just give you an example. When Kylo Ren is fighting Rey in the snow. You remember that scene?
Yeah.
And she's on the edge, and he's, kind of has her at one point, and she's got this blade right here, and it's just really close up, and she thinks about the Force. It's when he offers to train her, and she says, the Force, and she closes her eyes. I thought that was one of those moments that you would appreciate because it was a pause. The battle stops, and she closes her eyes, and it was like, I was impressed by him, like, oh. And they kind of went with it for a while. Like, her eyes kind of stayed closed for longer than I thought they were even going to be. And so that's an example of, I feel like he got it. But go ahead, continue.
Well, that part, I mean, I thought it was cool, but it didn't surprise me or anything like that. But I thought it was
Right, right. Did you like that part when he's reaching for the lightsaber and it's the lightsaber shaking because it's being pulled somewhere, kind of like when Luke is trying to get it in Empire Strikes Back with the snow monster, and it goes to Rey instead of him? What did you think about that?
Mm, I mean, I feel like silly when I talk about it critically, but no, I didn't really like that part.
Really? Oh, I thought it was awesome. Tezi thought it was awesome too. We were like, yeah.
I don't know how to explain it, but when it flew and she grabbed it and everyone in the theater applauded and went crazy.
See, you saw it with a cool audience. Our audience was a little bit subdued.
Yeah, very much.
I think part of it was we saw it at 9 a.m. And people were still kind of waking up.
And it wasn't cool.
Yeah, I'm serious. Like I really think that's part of it because it was a very subdued audience. Interesting.
They'd been waiting in line forever, so they were just whenever the credits showed up, they were going crazy and stuff.
Right. See, that's kind of how I normally am.
The volume level was really low, actually, for the movie.
Yeah. That's too bad. I hate that.
Yeah.
That bothers me in films.
It bothered me too when the Star Wars
Street
came up.
I hate that.
Yeah, when the Star Wars came up and it was like going away, it was very very.
Oh. Yeah, that's a death blow right there.
The part when it flies out of the snow and it lands in her hand, I feel like I could have predicted that.
See, for me, it wasn't. I wasn't surprised by it. It wasn't the element of, oh, wow, she got the lightsaber. What I liked about it was it carried on this idea that I felt was a really good part of the story, which is she's on the tip of finding out that she has a connection to the Force. And, it can go either way with her. She's not very powerful yet, but yet in other ways, like she has this natural power and strength that comes out of her naturally. And I just felt that in that moment, I don't know, I thought it was well acted. Like she seemed surprised, but also, I don't know, she's a strong character to me. And she just handles it so well. And to see kind of Kylo's fear and anger at the same time. I think he's a great actor too, by the way. I really like how he was cast. I don't know. I guess I was just saying. I really liked it. I liked that entire sequence.
I'll look out whenever I go see it again.
Yeah, check it out. See what you think. I mean, maybe try to be, like you said, maybe try to be more generous, to what was happening there. The whole battle with Finn initially. That was cool, and I don't know. I just there were the parts that I didn't like about the film. One were far and few between. Few and far between. I liked most of it, and the lightsaber battles, to my mind, were good. Were some of the best parts of it overall. So that's cool. I mean, we don't have to agree on everything, obviously. Like that's perfectly fine, and it's interesting. I like getting these different, views because that's what makes it interesting. That's why we do this kind of stuff. So.
Another thing I thought was funny is how the Captain Phasma character didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Talk about her. And I remember, like, she was in all of the interviews along with all the other cast, and they interviewed her a lot. She was like, I'm a strong character and all that.
Yeah. Right. Well, here's what I think, Jeremy, and I'm gonna kind of jab at you with this and let you think about it. Wouldn't you agree that is a sign that J.J. Abrams is willing to take his time? Because here we have this character, still alive, going to be in the other films, and he just introduced her. She's there. We don't know much about her. We have a little bit of a basis for her, what she is, and we'll find out more about her later.
Could be.
What do you think?
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Okay, because that's what I'm hoping. Like
There's so much talk being about it.
Yeah. Right.
Assuming that's what.
For sure. And I think that is, maybe it's how I was approaching the film. I'm trying to be as generous as possible. You know what I mean? Because let's say a couple, several years from now, and after we've seen all 3 films, and she's never introduced more, she just kind of is always there, but no one ever knows anything, then I'll agree with you. Then I'll be like, yeah, I mean, what's the point? She's an unexplained character. No. But where we're at now, film 1.
She'll probably be back.
I think she'll be back. And I think that's a long-term vision that Abrams has that I'm excited about. I have a lot of faith in J.J. Abrams right now, Jeremy. I guess that's just a fact. What I saw today, despite the stuff I talked about that I didn't care for, I'm very, very hopeful that this can be a really, really good trilogy. As long as Disney doesn't get in the way, and we don't have any kind of Peter Jackson type stuff happen. You know what I mean?
What were some of the things that you really liked about it, or did we go over that?
No, we haven't. We were still kind of talking about the cons, but But that's a good segue, Jeremy, because I want to talk about now. Those are some of the elements we didn't care for. Let's talk about, Jeremy, what worked. What were you like? What did you really enjoy? What were some of those moments or elements that you were very pleased with?